For years, electric vehicle shoppers in America have counted on one major perk to help offset the higher sticker prices of EVs compared to their gasoline-powered counterparts: the federal tax credit. Worth up to $7,500 on new vehicles and $4,000 on used ones, these credits have played a pivotal role in making EVs more financially accessible for many drivers. Yet, in a twist that few people saw coming, these incentives might vanish far sooner than anyone expected, and the ripple effects could reshape the entire EV landscape in the United States. Recent developments on Capitol Hill have put the EV tax credit on the chopping block, as lawmakers accelerate plans to cut back on programs they argue are too costly or skewed toward wealthier buyers. At the heart of the issue is a piece of legislation tied to President Donald Trump's proposed One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which initially aimed to scrap the credits in 2026. But now, a group of Republican senators wants to move up that timeline dramatically, proposing to eliminate the $7,500 credit for new EVs as early as September 30, 2025, and possibly even sooner. The same bill also targets the $4,000 tax credit that helps buyers of used EVs, potentially wiping it out within a few months of passage. That's a far cry from the gradual phase-out many in the auto industry had been anticipating. The urgency behind this proposal has left automakers, dealers, and prospective EV buyers scrambling for answers. Just a few weeks ago, it seemed like the tax credits were secure for at least another year, giving consumers more time to plan their purchases. Now, uncertainty is swirling, and the pressure to buy while you still can has never felt stronger. For many Americans who have been eyeing an electric vehicle, the thought of losing thousands of dollars in incentives could be enough to either rush them into a purchase or steer them back toward traditional gasoline cars. The financial implications are significant. On a vehicle like a Tesla Model Y or a Ford Mustang Mach-E, the $7,500 federal credit can dramatically lower the effective price, bringing some trims closer in cost to comparable gas-powered SUVs. Without that credit, buyers could see monthly payments jump by well over $100, potentially pushing EVs out of reach for middle-class families who were just starting to consider making the switch. It's not only new EVs that are in jeopardy. The $4,000 credit for used electric vehicles has been a game-changer for people hoping to enter the EV market without paying luxury prices. With used EV prices already coming down in recent months, thanks to growing supply and newer models entering the market, the tax credit has made EV ownership more approachable than ever. If that credit disappears, the used EV market could stall just as it was starting to gain traction among everyday drivers looking for affordable alternatives. Adding another layer of complexity, the bill would also eliminate the credit for leased electric vehicles that aren't manufactured in the United States. This clause could have huge consequences for brands like Hyundai, Kia, and Volvo, which currently offer attractive EV lease deals using the commercial lease loophole to qualify for the full $7,500 credit, regardless of where the vehicle is built. Without that loophole, many of those vehicles could become considerably more expensive overnight, altering the competitive landscape and possibly steering customers toward domestically built EVs from Ford, GM, or Tesla. But there's more to this legislative puzzle. While the bill aims to cut EV tax credits, it simultaneously proposes eliminating penalties for automakers who fall short of federal fuel economy targets. That shift might ease some regulatory burdens for traditional automakers who still rely heavily on gas-powered vehicles, giving them a financial reprieve. However, it also sends mixed signals to the industry about where federal policy is headed. On the one hand, the government has been encouraging electrification to fight climate change. On the other, this legislation could slow that momentum, potentially creating confusion for car companies trying to plan billions of dollars in future EV investments. Auto dealers are especially concerned. According to the National Automobile Dealers Association, NADA, Around 140,000 electric vehicles are currently sitting on dealership lots across the country, a number that's already higher than many retailers would like. Dealers worry that if tax credits vanish suddenly, customers will pull back from EV purchases, leaving dealers holding expensive inventory they can't move. NADA has urged lawmakers to allow for a smoother transition, warning that an abrupt cutoff could create chaos in showrooms and financial strain for businesses. For consumers, all of this raises urgent questions. Should buyers race to purchase an EV before the potential deadline, fearing that prices could skyrocket without the credit? Or should they wait, hoping that market forces or new legislation might stabilize things down the road? It's a gamble with thousands of dollars at stake. Even if someone signs a purchase contract today, delays in vehicle production and delivery times could leave them vulnerable if the legislation takes effect sooner than expected. From an environmental standpoint, the rollback of tax credits could be a significant setback. The federal government has used these incentives for years as a tool to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and encourage adoption of cleaner technologies. Without them, fewer Americans may be willing or able to make the switch to electric, particularly in regions where charging infrastructure is still developing or where electricity prices remain high. All told, the next few months will be critical for the future of electric vehicles in the United States. If the Senate moves forward with its plan to end the credits by this fall, the cost of buying or leasing an EV could jump significantly almost overnight. Automakers may have to pivot their strategies, dealers could be left managing large inventories, and consumers will face tough choices in a market full of both opportunity and risk. For anyone thinking about going electric, the message is increasingly clear. Pay attention, and if the numbers work for your budget, you might want to act sooner rather than later. The era of generous federal EV incentives could be ending faster than anyone imagined, and the next chapter for electric vehicles in America might be written without the financial help so many drivers have come to rely on.